We had the different clubs coming to us at that time, like the Devil's Disciples and the couple of lads from the Freewheelers coming up from all the way from Waterford just to get spare bits and pieces for Triumphs, BSAs, Nortons.
That's it, yeah.
It was the old school choppers then, like, you know what I mean?
And you wouldn't get a nut or a bolt now for a Triumph or a BSA or a Norton.
No, not unless you want to pay through the nose.
Well, even if you did pay through the nose, you still wouldn't get it. But something there I'm into. Remember the guy? What was his name? Huge, big guy, and he had a bad smack.
Jambo. Yeah, well, Jambo is out in Dunleary Hospital.
Well, I knew he was in hospital.
Yeah, he came off the bike doing 35 miles an hour. And what happened to him was his brain actually spun inside of the skull. Yeah. He sat up, the ambulance man came, asked him, was he okay? He said, yeah. And 2-3 seconds later, he just fell backwards onto the gurney. And ever since then,
He's still alive, is he?
He's still alive, but he doesn't know his own name. And that's, 28 years ago, 29 years ago.
Yeah.
Just a silly accident, and there we go, like, you know. Chap's still alive. His mother and father have passed on, and most of his family, like, you know, he doesn't know what's happening with the family, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he was to wake up tomorrow, he'd still think it was the day of the accident.
Yeah.
That's what the doctor said anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the very strange thing about that was, it was the weekend of the TT's racing, and Robert Galbraith at the time had offered to fly over and bring a neurosurgeon from the TT races.
Did he? Yeah.
To Jambo in the hospital. Yeah. And didn't the plane run off the end of the highway or off the runway?
Are you serious? I never heard that.
There was 2 people killed, and one of them was the neurosurgeon, which could have fixed Jambo at that particular time.
Serious? I never knew
Jimmy
that.
Logan, you know what I mean?
Well,
a half hour later, the memory of the damaged and the fallen has been honoured. I meet Pete later in Ballyfermot.
See you later, Biking and being a clansman are basically almost identical to each other, because the camaraderie of bikers meeting up and going to a show is basically the same thing as what the Celts is doing. It's to show off their wares, to show off what they can do with their bit of engineering, with their paint jobs. It was the same for the Vikings, the Saxons, the Celts. They came along with their best sword, they came along with their best shield, their nice helmets. Tell me, like, that today still stands as being a biker. Like, you have a nice bike, you have a nice helmet, you have a beautiful paint job. The difference may be in the garb of changing from chainmail to leather. But even as leather, like the Celts use leather, modern day bikers use leather. The Celts use boots, leather boots. The bikers use leather boots. It's just, you do have presidents of bike clubs. You have other people who join in and become a member of that bike club. It is the exact same thing with a clansman. He becomes a member of a clan. He's actually buying into a family just as much as a biker is buying into a family. They go off for weekends, they camp out, they have great crack, they meet up with other bikers from different countries, they meet up with bike shows. It's the exact same with the Celts. What they done is they went to visit towns, showing off what shields you could make, how they painted their shields, how they painted their bodies in mould, which today we look upon tattoos as being a Celtic carryover from the Celts to the modern day tattooists.
When I was growing up, stories abounded about packs of marauding bikers arriving unannounced into small Midland towns and tearing up sleepy Sunday afternoons, leaving only the smell of oily exhaust and fear in their wake. Nothing much has changed. Pete and all his family of clan warriors are back in town. The smell of chainmail, wood smoke and battle lust hangs in the air. Today there are traders here whose accents would not be out of place amongst the Anglo-Saxon.
I want to make stuff like that in sheepskin, just to keep your ears warm. Something that looks like that and makes out of that, just wears it on your head when you're cold. To make it big and proper. But Mary's going to help me I want to make it so that you get one bit of skin and you put your template down, cut it up, then sew it up in one go.
That is a lovely hole.
The clans of Ireland arrive at the castle for this weekend of battle. Their presence forms a gateway between two worlds. Whilst each clan has their own leader, all warriors have a visible respect for the head of the Tuatha Dé Gael clan, Pete.
You get a child whose face lights up and is that excited about, who we are is who we were. That's how I see things. I actually say, well, if you want to understand yourself, you want to understand who we come from, who the people we come from. I come from an island people up by Torry. I trace my ancestors back 10 generations back. We have a huge family tree and structure, but all of those things possibly led me to reenactment as being part of who I am. And then you meet the right people and you say, yeah, this is the family you choose. You have to trust people to a huge degree if you're going to be out in the battlefield whacking one another with metal objects. I could say serious weaponry, but it really comes down to degrees of trust and degrees of mutual respect. I find that in reenactment. Maybe it's because they get all their aggression off in the battlefield, but they're the nicest bunch of people I've ever come across. So
this very elegant gown that I'm wearing is a gown from around the period of 1415, and as in most medieval clothing, there are several layers that you have to wear. So my first initial layer is a linen underdress, or a kirtle as it was sometimes called. Then I'm wearing a petticoat that is lined with kind of batted wool, so it's quite warm, and then the gown itself on top of that. People believed in layers, obviously. It was quite cold at certain times, and they had very strict ideas of modesty, what was considered modest and what was considered immodest. So it was quite important to be within the realms of modesty. You could be tried as a witch or God knows what if you didn't adhere to the rules of society at the time.
A female warrior bends to tend the barbecue fire. The breeze sends up a scarf of smoke that connects us with the sky. For a moment, Pete's regal demeanour slips and he becomes playful.
Get over you!
This is highly appropriate. I was asking Pete if there's any romance that occurs on weekends like this.
Oh, absolutely. There's plenty of couples, again, like-minded couples who get involved in this sport, and in a muddy field somewhere with plenty of battle bruises and a meat horn and a fireside. And there are many romances and happy, partnerships and weddings and handfastings and festivities that are part of the whole reenactment scene.
Today's events are charged with atmosphere. This spirituality has directed Pete's path through life. Being made clan leader must have been a very important thing in your life.
It was in the way that I didn't know was happening. Like the clan had a gathering, and it was deemed as like part of the ritual for everybody to attend the gathering. And I was the last one to arrive in the Tara, on the hill of Tara, for the simple reason my brother-in-law took me the long way around. What I didn't know is that they had prepared everything on the hill of Tara for me, which I didn't know anything about. They formed a circle of truth, that if anybody had anything to say against myself being made chief of the clan, this was the time to speak, or forever hold a peace, the usual. And from that then, I was proceeded to be made chief of the clan, the Tuatha, called Tuatha Dé Gael, which is the people of the Gaels. All the celebrations started. Everybody was out to have a good evening. Everybody had brought along a few bottles of mead, a few bottles of beer, whatever the case may be, whatever their pleasure was. Sitting down, I went sitting around the campfire, went